Attention passengers, we have aborted the landing.
The landing in Sabiha was a scary experience. I was panicking, everyone looked concerned except a person across me who was reading a book and didn't bat an eye. I'm traveling from Sweden to Qatar and back. I mean, it's 2022, how hot can it be? Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everyone is staying strong. On a cold night in January 2022, I started my journey from Sweden to Qatar. I took a bus to Jönköping Resecentrum, which is a train station in Jönköping. Now I have to take a bus from there to Stockholm Arlanda Airport. Even though the train station closes at 12 midnight, that day we were fortunate that we could stay until 1. Then I had to spend 2 more hours outside the station. The temperature was around -3 degrees Celsius. I could somehow manage the cold for the first hour, but then it really got difficult. I was desperate to get some heat into my body. I tried walking up and down, rubbing my hands together, but that could only do so much. Even though I was wearing like 3 layers of clothes and thermals, as soon as the bus arrived, I jumped on it and that was a big relief. The journey from Jönköping to Arlanda Airport takes about 5 hours and the estimated arrival at the airport was just about 3 hours before my flight. So after reaching the airport, I headed straight to the check-in counter, and since COVID was still around, I prepared every document that needed to be presented, namely passport, ticket, ihtiras, vaccination certificate, and Qatar ID. I have spent hours researching the rules and regulations regarding traveling from Sweden to Qatar and concluded that it's fairly a straightforward process. There is no need for a PCR test and stuff like that. Also, Sweden was green listed country according to the Qatar government, so everything looks fine. Or is it? The staff at the check-in counter then... Chicken counter? The staff at the check-in counter then asked me for the PCR test results. I said there's no need for a PCR test since Sweden is green listed country. Then the conversation goes back and forth for a while, and after that they took my passport and they said they need to discuss it with someone. After a while they came back saying the PCR is a must and Sweden is in red list apparently. I was shocked. I just have 3 hours, and even though the rules clearly says that I don't need a PCR, they were forcing it on me. Then they sent me to the aviator if I still needed to argue my case, but they also told me that it's just a waste of time talking to her. Instead, go get the PCR done and you can still make it on time. So then I proceeded to the aviator and tried to make my case, but she was even more disappointing than the people at the counter. She barely understood any English. So now I proceeded to take my PCR test, and the minimum rate for a PCR test is 1,500 Swedish crowns. That is the regular price for a PCR test in Sweden, and that's why I made sure that I don't need a PCR to travel. And that would be about 500 Qatar riyals or 11,000 Indian rupees. And it would take 24 hours to get the result. So I had to take the faster and expensive option, which was about 35,000 SEK. That's around 1,500 riyals or 34,000 Indian rupees. And it would take about 3 hours to get the results. That would mean that I'll miss my flight. I sat anxiously on a bench, plus all the money that I've saved until now just vanished in minutes. An hour and a half later, the results came in and thank God it was negative. That was a big relief. Back at the check-in counter, I was getting my boarding pass, and the staff that previously told me that Sweden was in the red list now comes over and says it's actually green listed. And he was trying to start a conversation. I was really annoyed and said, yeah buddy, and just took off with my boarding pass towards the gate. I'm flying to Qatar via Istanbul Sabiha Airport. I've visited Sabiha enough times by now that I know the airport inside out. The landing in Sabiha this time was a scary experience. Our flight almost landed and all of a sudden the flight climbed up vertically with high speed. We didn't know what was going on and of course I was panicking. It definitely was not a pleasant experience. We spent some time in the air and the pilot attempted a second landing which went smoothly. The moment we touched down, everyone started clapping. This was a first for me. Never have I experienced something like this. While all this was happening, I noticed a person across my seat reading a book and not bothered by any of this. Like, how invested can one be in a book? The flight aborted the landing, took off vertically with high speed, and the captain is on the radio saying,
Attention passengers, we have aborted the landing.
Like, come on. Anyways, after landing in Turkey, we had a slight delay during the transit. Then I'm off to Qatar, where I'm giving my family a surprise visit. It was midnight and I took an Uber home. It was midnight and I took an Uber home and surprise! No one's opening the door and no one is picking up the phone. After her very long, exhausting journey, both physically and mentally, I was standing outside my house. I was standing outside my house for about half an hour with my luggages. Eventually, my parents opened the door and... surprise, I'm home. So that's it for our video today, and in the next video we will see what happened on my way back to Sweden. That's going to be an exciting one, so stay tuned, do subscribe if you like my content, and also hit the like button. If you have some interesting stories, do share it with me, I'll feature it on my channel. My email is themostab@gmail.com and my Instagram is mo_tmac. Do follow me there, I'll be posting updates and drawings over there. You can find the links in the description. Enjoy the videos guys, bye, peace, love and take care.